folks. Getting the live stream going. Oh, I always forget. There's no control on the thing when I sing, and boom, boom. Okay. Let's see if the automated announcement happens this time. The last couple of weeks it's failed, like my little automated Mastodon announcement. And I haven't set this up for Blue Sky yet. But the problem is it's not detecting the new live stream like automatically. Instead, it just sits there. We'll give it like, I don't want to give it a whole 5 minutes. 3 minutes. Give it 3 minutes. And if that doesn't do, then I'll do it manually like I've done the last couple weeks. But that's kind of annoying, doing it manually. There it goes. Much better. Now we just have to see it actually come out. Blah, 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 blah. There it is. There we go. Okay. I guess I can go. Have to turn this live. We'll put this back over here. Okay. Let's light this candle. Alex is upset by something, probably because I quoted like Mater. No, he's upset by dying in a video game. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, August 30th, 2025. It's 22:38 UTC as I'm starting to record this. I am Sam Minter. Did I say that already? I don't know if I said that already. I probably said that already. Yvonne Bowe is not here. And neither is anybody else. Well, my son Alex is in the background, but he's probably not going to participate. I don't know. But Yvonne messaged me Thursday afternoon US time to say that he wasn't going to be able to make it this week. And I was busy Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. I meant to send out the thing asking for co-hosts, but forgot. I finally got around to it like Friday afternoon sometime. And even then when I did it, I screwed it up. I always exclude the last 3 co-hosts we've had, but I forgot to reflect the fact that Pete had co-hosted with us just last week. And so I included Pete in the email I sent out and had left out, Todd should have been back in the list, and I didn't include Todd, but whatever. I did have one bite of interest. Shout out to our loyal listener, Matt, who's been listening to this podcast since the beginning. And he said he really wanted to, but then the timing didn't work out. So here I am doing a solo show. As usual, when I do solo shows, I am going to do one segment at a time, and in between segments, I'm going to go off and do other things. And I'm going to probably take all weekend to record this stupid show rather than doing it all at once. In this case, after I finish recording this segment, my wife, my son, and I are going to go to the what's it called? it's like a state fair kind of thing around here, but it's the Evergreen State Fair. There we go, here in Washington State. Washington State has several of these fairs of different kinds, like there's a Puyallup Fair as well, and there are a couple others, I think. But this is the Evergreen State Fair, and this weekend is the last weekend it's around, and we're gonna go and visit. And when we do this, my wife likes to actually wander around and check out all the stuff at the fair. Um, my son basically just goes for some of the fair food. He likes the corn, likes the hot dogs, maybe likes a couple other things. And I like the food too. I basically don't like the experience of fairs. You know, they're just too crowded, too many people, too whatever. So I mean, years ago we would go to these things and actually like go on a couple rides and stuff. Sometimes when we had my daughter with us as well, and when my son was smaller. Um, but you have to wait in line for those. Like, I'm old, I get nauseous on the rides now. Well, I've always gotten nauseous on the rides. There's a nice story from years ago, me throwing up on a ride. We don't have to go there now, but well, okay, yes, we do. Um, I've probably shared it on the podcast before, but I had basically I had flown to Chicago to meet somebody. Uh, Basically, we'd been flirting online for months and months and months, and so we're going to meet in person, have a couple dates, whatever. And anyway, one of the places we went was like a carnival, and we went on a ride, and it was one of these. I forget what it's called, but it had, multiple layers of spinning. It had like one thing that spun and it was attached to another thing that was spun. I think it was the zipper. I think it was the zipper. Let me zipper ride. Um yes. Yes, it was definitely the zipper. Anyway. Um anyway, we multiple layers of spinning. Anyway, I in the middle of the ride I started puking, and just and it was falling out of the like carriage we were in, and like dripping down onto people below. People were screaming because there was vomit like falling falling on them from the sky. It was very embarrassing. um, the person I was with was very understanding, but I will say, after that weekend, I never saw her again. I don't know if it was related, but that was it. Um, anyway, it was a fun weekend anyway. But yeah, that part was did not go so smoothly. There was another part of the weekend where we went to like a medieval times, and there were horses, and it turns out I'm highly allergic to horses, so I had like a massive asthma attack. Um, yeah, this weekend had a few issues. Um, but yeah, no. Anyway, I did keep in touch with her for many years after that, but I never saw her in person again. Anyway, da, 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 da. This first segment will be media. I was starting to talk about fairs. I got distracted about the fair. Oh, let me finish about the fair. Anyway, this first segment is always the light, fluffy, like personal stuff. We'll talk about news in the later two segments. I don't know exactly what I'll talk about yet, because news events may change what I feel like talking about before I record those segments. But oh yeah, the fair. I'll talk about the fair for a little bit, and then I will do a couple movies. Um, but yeah, so we don't do the rides and stuff anymore. What my son and I typically do is we will go find a quiet corner as far away from the other people as possible, where we can just sort of camp out, bring the food, eat, and hang out, and we'll just sit there for a while, watching the world go by. We'll bring our devices, and we'll play on our devices. We'll do whatever, um, and just basically stuff ourselves silly with fair food for a couple hours and then go home. And it's just become a tradition. Now, honestly, I it's one of those like, I would not mind not doing this in a given year. However, if my family goes and I don't go, I kind of feel left out. So my wife Brandy and my son Alex have actually already gone. Like last week, they went without me during the workday while I was at work. And so I sort of asked, I was sort of like, well, I kind of feel left out, blah, blah, blah. And so now we're going again. Now, I had said, I don't really need to go. It's okay. You guys are already gone. However, then Alex was like, no, I want to go again. And so we're going again. Well, I'm going for the first time, but you know, like I said, I would actually be fine skipping it. But I did feel kind of left out when they go without me. You guys know this kind of thing? Like, it's not actually my favorite thing. I actually don't, I can't really say I enjoy going to the fair. It feels like a little bit of a chore. I mean, I do like the buttered corn on the cob and the hot dogs and some of the other fair foods. I don't do any of the weird like fair foods like, you know, fried butter or whatever that they have at some of these things. I don't think I've seen anything really weird and exotic at this state fair. I know that's a big thing in some other places. Um, but you know, I don't do the deep fried Oreos or the deep fried butter. I don't know. I don't go for the weird foods, but I like the buttered corn because you know I we sometimes have that at home, but very rarely, you know, and the and you know it's just different at the fair. I don't know, like and you know, but and so we sit there and we enjoy it anyway. Maybe if anything interesting happens when we visit later today in the next segment, I'll mention something. But I don't expect anything interesting will happen. I expect that we will go there, we will do the thing, and then we will come home. You know, and so yeah. So anyway, for this first segment, before we do newsy stuff later, the main thing is I'm going to do two of the movies from my big movie list. We are now on well, we have been for a while, movies I watched last November. So this next one, Alex and I watched it November 23rd of last year. And I've previewed this the last couple weeks. King Kong versus Godzilla from 1962. Okay. Now, this is a crossover, obviously, between the King Kong franchise and the Godzilla franchise. We actually did this, you know, as we're going through, we've been going through both. I guess both of these are on our list to go through, but we got to this from the King Kong side because this is the third King Kong movie. There was King Kong from 1933, Son of Kong from later in 1933. They put out two, one in March, one in December in that year. And then this third one was almost 30 years later, King Kong versus Godzilla in 1962. Meanwhile, the Godzilla franchise, this was also the third movie in the Godzilla franchise, but Alex and I had only watched the first one before this. We watched the 1954 Godzilla, I believe. Um, the second one was from 1955, Godzilla Raids Again, and then this is number three. So at some point, we're going to have to go back and pick up Godzilla Raids Again and watch that. But Godzilla, or no, King Kong versus Godzilla. Let me start with, this is not a good movie, okay? Under no stretch of the imagination could you say, oh man, this is a great movie, okay? Um, and but I am going to say I'm giving it a thumbs up anyway because it was a lot of fun, okay? And it was fun in the this movie is so bad it's laughable kind of way. Um, you know, I mean, awful special effects, not particularly great acting, a plot that doesn't make a whole lot of sense necessarily, lots of disjointed stuff. Um, and and of course, like these are well known for like bad dubbing of the parts that are in Japanese, and just but it there are bad movies that I've given a straight up thumbs down because they are painful to watch, they're horrible, there's nothing redeeming about them. This is one of the ones that is just so bad it's comical. And frankly, like the people in rubber suits being the two main characters fighting and throwing styrofoam rocks at each other and things like that, is just hilarious. It is just hilarious. Um, and so, yes, um, I had fun. I think Alex had fun. We kept pausing it to like discuss parts of it, rewind, see the weird stuff again, um, make fun of the effects, all of this kind of stuff. Now, obviously, there's both of these franchises are, you know, let's see here. Now there are now 34 Godzilla films in the original sort of Toho Films Japanese oriented ones, and I guess there's a yeah, and then there's 6 American Godzilla films. On the King Kong side, there are fewer, and the Wikipedia page is stupid and doesn't number them. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 main movies, and then 3 direct to video animated ones, and then there's some TV series as well. um you know so these are well loved, long lived franchises, but and there's a whole genre of like monster films that go beyond these two, of course, as well. And it's a certain kind of thing. I mean, I guess that some of the newer ones try to be a little bit more, they lean into the special effects and some other stuff, and not try to be sort of the cheap pulp movies of the very early ones. But still, if you're going to like, we were talking superhero movies last week, monster movies are same kind of genre, where no one's expecting high art. You're expecting some sort of big creature rampaging and doing all kinds of damage, and then the human beings valiantly fighting back. And in a lot of them, you get 2 of the big monsters fighting each other or more. And cool. If you're watching one of these, you kind of know what you're signing up for. Anyway, giving this one a thumbs up just because it's hilariously bad. Um, and yeah, um, again, there are bad movies that are just not enjoyable at all. They're just horrible. Then there are bad movies that are so bad they're comical and you can laugh at them. And this is in that category. So there you go. King Kong versus Godzilla. Next up, All About Eve from 1950. And I believe this was yeah. It was from the AFI list as we are working our way up. By the way, like, I'm doing movies that we watched back in November right now, but we now only have number 1 left on that list. We've Alex and I watched number 2 on the 1998 AFI list a few nights ago. And So all we have left is Citizen Kane from 1941, which was number one on both the 1998 and 2007 lists, and which I've never seen. I'd seen number two before. Number two on the 1998 list was Casablanca, and it was number three on the 2007 list. Anyway, I've never, ever seen Citizen Kane. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to it to see if it lives up to the hype of being number one on all these top movie lists. Anyway, we'll get to reviewing those eventually. All About Eve was number 16 in the 1998 list. It dropped to number 28 on the 2007 list. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned before, Alex and I have agreed that once we pass number one on the 1998 list, we're going to start over from number 100 using the 2007 list and work our way back up again. But anyway, All About Eve. I will read the. I didn't even read the plot summary of King Kong versus Godzilla. I don't think you guys really need to know or care. Alex is indicating that maybe I should go back and do that. Okay, from Wikipedia, the first paragraph of the plot description. I won't go past that because then spoilers. But Mr. Taco, head of Pacific Pharmaceuticals, is frustrated with the television shows his company is sponsoring and wants something to boost his ratings. When a doctor tells Taco about a giant monster he discovered on the small Faroe Island, Taco believes that it would be a brilliant idea to use the monster to gain publicity. Taco sends two men, Osamu Sakurai and Kenzaburo Furu, to find and bring back the monster. Meanwhile, the American nuclear submarine Seahawk gets caught in an iceberg. The iceberg collapses, unleashing Godzilla, who has been trapped within it since 1955. Godzilla destroys the submarine and makes its way towards Japan, attacking a military base as it journeys southward. Okay, one more paragraph. On Faroe Island, a gigantic octopus crawls ashore and attacks the native village in search of Faroe-lactin juice, taken from a species of red berry native to the island. The mysterious Faroe monster, revealed to be King Kong, arrives and defeats the octopus. Kong drinks several vases full of the juice while the islanders perform a ceremony, which causes him to fall asleep. Sakurai and Furu place Kong on a large raft and begin to transport him back to Japan. Mr. Taco arrives in the ship transporting Kong, but a JSDF ship stops them and orders that Kong must be kept out of Japan. Meanwhile, Godzilla arrives in Japan and terrorizes the countryside. Kong wakes up and breaks free from the raft. Reaching the mainland, Kong confronts Godzilla and proceeds to throw giant rocks at him. Godzilla is not fazed by King Kong's rock attack and uses its heat ray to burn him. Kong retreats after realizing that he is not yet ready to take on Godzilla. There's two more paragraphs of the plot description, but I won't go there because spoilers. Okay, now the description of the plot of All About Eve. And again, I'll only do the beginning. I'll do two paragraphs to match, and then I'll leave the rest to avoid spoilers. At the Sarah Siddons Award ceremony honoring rising actress Eve Harrington, narration from acerbic theater critic Addison DeWitt introduces the attendees and hints that there is more to Eve's story. The narration switches to Karen Richards, wife of playwright Lloyd Richards. She recalls the previous October when she introduced Eve to aging Broadway star Margot Channing, who is starring in a play written by Lloyd. Eve tells Karen, Lloyd, and Margot's maid, Birdie, that she followed Margot's last theatrical tour to New York City after seeing her perform in San Francisco. She tells of her impoverished childhood and losing her husband in the South Pacific during World War II, And moved by Eve's story, Margot takes her into her home as her assistant. Eve quickly manipulates her way into Margot's life as both secretary and adoring fan. And it goes from there. Anyway, um, thumbs up on All About Eve as well. Um, as with a lot of these sort of 1950s movies, it's a little bit stylized. You're not necessarily believing these characters as real characters. It's not like intended to be super realistic. Like they're kind of caricatures, um, but it works anyway. You see the dynamics between these characters, and I actually like after watching a bunch of these older movies, as part of this AFI Top 100 thing, I'll say that you know the trend towards being more realistic in sort of dramatic movies and making it, you sort of, one reaction to it is people act better now because it's more convincing and more realistic. But really, it's not that per se. It's intentionally stylized. It's intentionally exaggerated. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be really effective in telling certain kinds of stories. Um, and it's not to say the highly realistic mode doesn't work as well, but it's a different feel. It's a different type of movie, but I think it works in a lot of these. And and they're good to watch. It still gets you. It still like grabs you in the right places, even though it's a little bit stylized, it's a little bit exaggerated. I mean, and hell, we were talking about superhero and monster movies. Those are obviously stylized and exaggerated as well and aren't really concentrating on realistic characters. I'd say this kind of movie is different. I mean, it's not, there are no superheroes, there are no monsters, it's human beings interacting with each other, but they by making them somewhat caricatures and somewhat stylized, you immediately sort of get the point of how these characters are supposed to be interacting with each other, how it all, where they're coming from, what the kind of thing is. This does have like a few twists and turns that I had not seen this movie before. I had not read about it, heard about it. I mean, I'd heard the title, but I did not know what the plot was. So like some of the twists and turns I didn't know about till they happened. Now some of them I suspected were going to happen. They sort of, you, some things were a little bit telegraphed and you could see that they were coming, but it was still very well done. I mean, I think it deserves its place on this list. It's good. I enjoyed the movie. It kept me sort of on the edge of my seat at the right moments. It tugged at my heartstrings at the right moments. This isn't one where it's I maybe tugged my heartstrings is the wrong way to say this one. Like there's some where you really like, something tragic happens and you're really feeling for the characters, or the main characters fall in love and you're like, oh, that's so sweet, oh, that's wonderful. And Alex always makes fun of me because I'm a sucker and I start crying at all of those moments. This did not have me like crying. It's not that kind of emotional resonance. But you still sort of feel the tension of the situation and feel bad for the characters that are getting screwed over, and at the same time feel like you sort of enjoy watching the character who's doing the screwing over doing some of it as well. Anyway, I like it. Thumbs up. I don't have anything else to say about All About Eve. There you go. Let's see. Did it win any awards? I'm pretty sure the King Kong one didn't win. King Kong versus Godzilla didn't win anything. Let's see. let's make sure. And there is. I don't know. Anyway. There are apparently like multiple versions of the King Kong versus Godzilla. You know, like there's Japanese version, American version. I kind of presume we saw the American version. Um, I usually try to make sure to get like if something has an original language, I try to get that when I can, and what use subtitles or whatever, and not dubbing and whatever. This one had they intentionally sort of made two versions, um, and I got whichever one was most easily available. So yeah, did we? No, the Godzilla was the one where we went out of our no. This is the one where we had to buy the DVD, wasn't it? Okay, so Alex is correcting me on the fly here. Like the online streaming version was a dubbed version, and so we did get um a remastered. I I think it was the remastered version of the Japanese one on Blu-ray. Now I'm gonna have to freaking check. Um, let's go and I'll check my order history and search for King Kong. That should do it. I don't have a lot of things. Okay, we bought King Kong versus Godzilla on Blu-ray, and we did get yeah. So, and this is the 2014. No. Anyway, we got it on Blu-ray to make sure we didn't have a crappy dubbed version like that we found online. So, um, yeah, um, yeah. So there was apparently also. So let's see. Home media in July 2014, the Japanese version was released for the first time in Blu-ray. Um, the English language version of the film on Blu-ray also in 2014. So we probably had the English language version of the Blu-ray. We had the Japanese version. Well, what we had was like the Japanese. When people spoke in Japanese, they spoke in Japanese. And we had English subtitles. When they spoke in English, we heard the English. The English language was in Japanese too. Okay, well, Alex knows better than I did, so maybe I don't know. Anyway, they're slightly edited differently too, apparently, between the two. But anyway, I was looking to see if it had won any awards. No, it does not look like it. Yes. Anyway, apparently the ways to tell which version we really saw, because in the Japanese version, both Godzilla and King Kong's roars are heard during the film's final fade to black, while in the American version, only Kong's roar is heard. However, in both films, the final shot of King Kong swimming away alone is unchanged. Oh no! Spoilers! I accidentally gave spoilers about the end. Oh my goodness. Uh, anyway, um, when we try to get the most authentic version of these that we can get our hands on when we do it. Um, anyway, All About Eve won tons of awards. It was, let's see, it won Best Motion Picture Academy Awards, won Best Motion Picture, Best Director, was nominated for Best Actress for two of the actresses. Best Supporting Actor won. Two nominations for Best Supporting Actress, one for Best Screenplay, nominated for Best Art Direction, nominated for Best Cinematography, one for Best Costume Design, nominated for Best Film Editing, nominated for Best Score, one for Best Sound Recording. And then there are a bunch of other awards that it won that weren't Oscars. So anyway, thumbs up for both King Kong versus Godzilla and for All About Eve, but for very different reasons. All About Eve, I think, is actually a good movie. King Kong versus Godzilla is a bad movie that's still fun to watch and laugh at. So there you go. There's all the stuff I have to say. I'm going to take a break. The family's going to go to the fair. And sometime later, I'll record another segment on something newsy and relevant to current events in the world of what's going on these days. But in the meantime, here's a break for you. A couple minutes for you. Less than a couple minutes, probably. For me, many, many hours. I don't know how many hours. Depends like when I feel like continuing. Enjoy the break anyway. Okie dokie. Here it comes. It is just my internet being stupid.
My internet is being stupid. It's a new song we will make. I'm tired. What's wrong? I'm really tired.
It's amazing.
Get the show on the road.
There's a road? There's a road? Oh my God, there's a road.
Okay, and for anybody on the live stream, we're going to shut it off now. I now have an unhappy octopus thing on my head that Alex put there. And if you're not on a live stream, you won't see this because it won't be in the audio podcast. And I mean, nobody's actually on the live stream right now. But if you watch on YouTube and get to this part. Anyway, we're stopping. Bye, folks.